Hey everybody, it's Tim Sackett. We're back with another episode of HR Famous. It's just my girl JLee and I today. You got the two of us. Madeline had hockey drama at the last minute, had to drop out. That's how kids treat us, right, Jay? Like you just never know
They're
what's
so
going to happen.
selfish. Oh, they're selfish. Like the whole world revolves around them. And like I just don't know who they think they are. It's awful. They're so
I
demanding.
Now, like I'm an empty nester, so I would think I wouldn't have this, and yet we're like recording this on Tuesday. So yesterday we get an urgent 911 call from Coop, who's in Michigan State University. And he had this whole thing where he had to get dressed up because he's in this like uh, choir. And then they were doing like some recording. So he didn't want to walk across campus for like 30 minutes with dress shoes. So he has his car on campus. So he's going to go drive his car after he went to class. He claims he put his keys in his pocket. Of course, he gets to his car, no keys. So he lost his car keys. So, of course, it
Oh
was a
no.
complete meltdown, craziness for him. And Kim had to go give him an extra set of keys. And I'm just like, you know what my parents would have done? They would have like said, "You're an idiot. You now owe me whatever to get you another key and walk your ass to wherever you're going."
I mean, that is the right answer, but the problem with this story is why have you not given Coop a car where you could just unlock the car from an app and like let him get in and drive? Like what
No, no,
like
no.
that's the problem. Why should you have a car that even has keys, Tim?
By the way, if he has a Toyota Highlander, he actually could have an app and start it and do all that from his phone. That's choices on him because I have a Toyota and I start it with an app on my phone. So,
My goodness. So it is his fault. Come on, Coop, get it together.
all right, we wanted to start. It's award season out there, and so whether it's music, movies, Broadway, all of that stuff, I wanted to kind of throw it out to you to find like what who do you, I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily who do you think is going to win an award, but I know you and I are completely on opposite ends on one of the movies that has made the Academy Award list, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I think I've actually talked about on this podcast. That I thought I was being punked in the theater. It was so awful and bad. I thought somebody was playing a joke on me.
That's so wild to me because I adored it. I will watch it multiple times in my lifetime because I think there's so many layers to what made that movie amazing. But also, I think I just hate you a little bit more now because, like, if you can't just even appreciate Michelle Yeoh in that movie, who is a goddess to me, I just feel like we can't be
Jaylee,
friends.
I have one
She's
word for you.
amazing.
I have one word for you.
Yes.
Rakakuni. It's literally the dumbest thing ever in the history of movies that Rakakuni is a thing from that stupid movie.
But like that's such a minor part of it that you just have to get over that and look at it in its entirety. As with any of these movies, there's all these weird little things in all of them. You're missing out. But you know actually what I want to see, it wasn't nominated for a best picture, but I think the actor was. I still haven't seen The Whale with Brendan Fraser. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I want to see it.
No, but I heard this. I heard people like when they showed it at I'm trying to think of the one in Utah, the film
Sundance.
Sundance. When they showed it at Sundance, it got a standing ovation, and like, but there was critics that were like, okay, like that was good that he put on all this kind of fat makeup and did this thing, but like the movie itself, I heard wasn't very good. So I think it was just for
Oh,
that
really?
performance, right? Like
Oh.
I don't know, like it's
Oh.
people had different things. By the way, I will tell you everything everywhere all at once. I either meet people who are like me and go, "Yeah, that was awful," or they're like you and they love it. There's no one in between that was like, "Yeah, I saw it, it was okay." Like no, it's either awful or great. And so I'm like,
I think you have to,
maybe
yes,
there's
that's
some
true.
brilliance in that movie to like, um, because like, Cameron who does like the editing, he loved it. Cameron's
Loved it.
boyfriend, yeah. And Cameron's boyfriend, Jacob, thought like, hell no, it was the dumbest thing ever.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if he should be with Jacob. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like if I can't agree with my partner on a movie, that's a problem. Like, I don't think there's anything my husband and I have ever disagreed on when it comes to movies, which tells you we are just made for each other.
Oh yeah. It's like I have a thing. Kim and I just went and saw Jagged Little Pill, the Broadway musical Jagged
Oh,
Little Pill,
yes.
based on Alanis Morissette's music. And I'll tell you, it makes sense given the time it was actually put together. I mean, it's a manufactured musical, right? You take Alanis's music, they made the storyline. It was written and launched during a very charged social time, probably 6, 7 years ago, right? And I can't tell you, Jay, like there's so many social issues thrown into that movie all at once that it's almost like they're like, oh, well, you have to have Me Too, you have to have BLM, you have to have trans, you have to have, like, there's so many things in there. You go, I'm confused at what's really happening here. And at the same time, it's
Mm,
about the core of it's about, well, gosh, it's even hard to say there's a core of it, but there's like I mean, I'm not giving away like, any ending, but there's two things around motherhood and addiction and also kind of date rape stuff, right? So those are like two of the bigger themes. But on top of that, you have all these other themes. Um, and, again, it was good because I love the music. I love how they put it in. And like the mother figure in this is so great and dynamic. Um, but I found myself being very uncomfortable. My wife kind of like laughs at me because she's like, well, you're a male, you're going to be uncomfortable with rape. But I find myself really uncomfortable. It doesn't matter if it's Broadway or a movie or a TV show. I'm super uncomfortable with rape. I mean, like, unlike like my wife can watch all this stuff and be like, okay, yeah, it's part of the story, whatever. And I'm like, I want to turn it off. Like that's how uncomfortable I am. Like I don't even want to watch it. And I don't know what that is or says about me, or why I'm even bringing it up on this podcast when we're talking about like an awards season. But
yes,
um,
my gosh, you've taken a left
let's
turn. By the way,
can
so
you
did
can you
you
lay me
did you
down on the chair right now and we'll go through this? I don't let's untangle this mess of my life. No, I don't know why, but
well,
it came up because of that musical. But we were watching a show. Oh, we were watching Handmaid's Tale on the last season
yeah,
this
yeah, I was
week.
actually going to ask about that.
Same thing. I get super uncomfortable with all of that. And probably because I just feel like I don't know. I just like I want to
I have a
help them,
theory.
right? Go
Yes,
ahead.
that's what I think. Like, so you're a dad to boys. You are a guy who really cares for genuinely like women, girls. Like I see the way you
I was
want
raised by
like
all women,
nieces, and
raised
you
by
were
all
raised by
women,
all. So I
right?
think there might be like a visceral protective thing where you're like, how on
Yeah.
earth could this
Oh,
be a reality? As opposed to like if you had girls, if you were a woman, like you just know that that is a reality that every woman, every girl is going to have to like somehow either have on the periphery or be aware of. And so I think this is like a Papa Bear side of you that is like,
could
I am
be.
going to rip the head off of this person who
Hmm.
is just creating atrocities, which makes us love you.
Yeah, but no, yeah, it has to be because of all the women in my life, and I'm sure
Yeah, yeah.
them going through their lives and probably having obviously I'm not naive enough to think that something hasn't happened to one of them, or at least they've got obviously the been in those situations where I just think as a man I always go I don't even know how some men even find like how they get charged by that, right? Like it's just a foreign concept to me, anyways. But no, so that was
Okay, I'm
Handmaid's
at
Tale.
one other
By the way,
direction. So an Oscar movie, just to move us in a slightly different direction. I did watch it because like this topic was getting really heavy and deep, Tim.
yes,
The
yes.
Banshees of Inisherin, which is like the strangest movie I've watched in a long time, but was so strange and so good. And I'm just gonna say it's very quiet. You have to stick with it. There's so many layers to it. And there's a surprising amount of blood that just somehow happens in the movie where you're like, well, what just happened? But it really makes you think where you're like, oh my gosh, it's not like overstimulation. You just have to like sit with the quietness of it and go along. I don't even know how to describe what it's about, but it was strangely good. I see it.
So
It was
so
like
best
this dark horse.
so best pictures this year are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, which did you see Avatar?
No, I didn't
It
watch
was
it.
it was amazing. I mean, it was literally 3 hours of amazing. The Banshees of
Wow.
Inisherin, which you talked about, Elvis, which again I thought was great. Again, but I like Elvis in that story. Everything, everywhere, all at once. The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, which is a weird, super weird choice.
So
Um,
strange.
of having a remake be like not even so like Top Gun would just be like a bubblegum pop kind of movie, right? Like it's and it kind of made that Triangles of Sadness or Triangle of Sadness, which I don't even recall hearing about, and Women Talking, another one I don't recall hearing about. Again, I'm not like a movie buff, so it's not shocking that some of these movies I wouldn't have seen. By the way, Top Gun was amazing, even in the remake. There's a little few weird things there that you're just like, it's the same guy, but now he's older and there's young, it's like, it's kind of typical remake stuff, but it was good. Avatar, I saw that in like 3D and I was just mesmerized. Like people thought, I'm like thinking, is it longer than 3 hours, like 3:15 or whatever? And I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be so long. It went by in a snap. Like it was not, didn't feel like it was like that.
That's too long. I can't sit through a movie that long. Like, that's just too much. Like, why would we do that to ourselves? That's horrible. No, thank you.
All
On
right. I want
principle,
to,
I'm not watching it.
yeah, so we'll be interesting to see what wins. By the way, I think with is it the People Choice that the actress that you were talked about from Everything Everywhere All at Once, she won, right, for Best Actress? Didn't she
Michelle
win?
Yeoh, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
No, I'm all for like great individual performances, and I understand like that one is definitely a crazy kind of role to play. So great role for her. Movie sucked. Okay. Um, Wall Street Journal had an article about childcare that it hasn't really recovered from pre-COVID numbers. Which again, I think if you were to ask anybody with kids that had to be, have to have childcare pre-COVID, it was already hard to find good childcare. Everything was expensive. The better, you got, the more expensive it was. Pandemic hit, and I think to me, there's a weird dynamic with childcare is that if you're a childcare provider, what you really want is, hey, here's my schedule. I'm working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, whatever. Here's how much it is. You drop your kids off, you pick them up, and this is exactly fits for the lifestyle. But for most people, that's not reality, right? They have to like drop the kid off by 7 so they can get to work, and then they don't get home like till 6, and blah blah blah, and all this craziness. And when the pandemic hit and people were working at home, most of them dropped their childcare. So these people lost their jobs, had to go find other ways to make money. And then when they come back, Jay, it's in this hybrid world where they go, oh, hey, can you just watch my kids Tuesdays and Thursdays? And they're like, no, like that doesn't, I can't make money doing that. Why would I do that? And so we have this huge dilemma. And I'm wondering, you obviously at Big M there, you work for this giant corporation. There's a lot of people that have kids. Are you guys doing anything, or have you heard any other companies doing things to help out parents with the childcare stuff, knowing that this hybrid thing is going to cause a lot of issues?
So I mean, I experienced this firsthand during the pandemic where like the childcare centers all closed. We had to scramble to figure out other ways to do childcare because we had one kid who was still not in kindergarten yet, so he wasn't in elementary school. So we faced this, and like we talked to so many families who are trying to figure out like how do they cover childcare? How do
Yeah.
they start like just finding the new normal between I'm working from home and I only need things for a certain number of hours and I can now leverage grandparents. And I think that was like the other interesting thing is like people got really smart around how to leverage family in creative ways because they didn't want to have expanded bubbles. So people just came up with new norms. And then I also happen to know a lot of childcare workers who ended up losing their jobs because their like facilities, their schools they worked at, they weren't coming back full force. And so you do have this issue of childcare centers who are having to charge more in order
Hmm.
to make up for different ratios for whatever the issues might be. And then yes, like families who are trying to figure out how to pay for it's when it's only become more expensive and maybe less convenient and all of that. So I mean, I do think that like I'm seeing a trend of companies trying to figure out how to offset some of the costs, whether
Yeah.
it's childcare centers at their offices where some of the monthly costs are subsidized, for example, or other ways to have equivalent of savings accounts or funds that go to childcare. But I think that like yes, companies are going to keep trying to figure out ways to get creative. But for me, like the bigger issue here is like we've got a problem with the cost of childcare. And I know
Yeah.
the government's not going to come in and solve for all of this, but I think that we have like an institutional, like structural issue in this country where I don't know if it's going to happen with like this current administration and the next, Congresses that are now in session, but I don't know. I don't know that companies can come to the rescue here. It's just too expensive. It's crazy.
I I do think there's a couple ways I think technology could help. One is I think there's like a credit based like daycare system because people now have these really kind of strange schedules, right? And so the one thing
Mm,
you couldn't do as a daycare is like, hey, I can only have so many kids per daycare worker or whatever that might be. Like there's laws and regulations around this. Um, but I'm almost like a mix of kind of like an Uber surge pricing model, right? Where you go, look,
well,
last minute, you just call us or through the app tell us you're going to drop your kid off for 4 hours instead of one credit, which might equal 1 hour, maybe it's 4 credits or 5 credits, right? Because now you're having to last minute call somebody, obviously pay them a premium to get there, stuff like that. But even then, I mean, if you think about it, maybe there is a two-sided marketplace, right? Like an Uber where people can be vetted out. I know people have tried this. It just hasn't gotten like kind of mass kind of, hasn't gotten big enough. And that's the key for a two-sided marketplace to work is to have enough of both sides, right? You have to have enough people wanting that, which I think there is on the daycare kind of, temporary watch side. It's then having enough workers on the other side that have the ability and the space to be able to kind of pick that up, which I think is the harder part of all of that. And then, like you said, that doesn't even talk about, well, that's great for people who have money. What about like the actual, childcare that is, that you don't have to pay an arm and a leg for? Who are we? Was it Madeline that we asked that were like she was paying like was it 1,200 a week or something for like aftercare or like it was an insane amount of money, right? That oh no, somebody
yeah.
it was a guy, one of the guys here in my office. So one of the things we do in our office is I tell people like, hey, last minute kind of emergency stuff, or like a lot of the schools here will take like, oh, the first Wednesday of the month, we're only going to do a half day. And it's some like teacher in service training, whatever. But do you know what a pain in the ass it is for parents to find 4 hours of daycare on an idle, like every first Wednesday of the month? Like it's next to impossible. So I just said, look,
Impossible.
you can either work at home or like I have some people who just they want to work in the office and they bring their kids in. And so at any point I could walk by a cube and they'll see a kid in there, like with a laptop on doing homework or watching a YouTube video or doing something like that. Um, and at first I was kind of a little concerned that I'm just going to be like a daycare running through here. Jay, I don't even know these kids are here. They're so well behaved and they act so great. And I'm sure their parents are like threatening their lives, right? Like, hey, I am taking you to work.
No more goldfish crackers unless you sit there quietly.
But I'm always amazed like how great they are. And like again, and like it's almost like kind of like it was who was it, Hillary Clinton, that wrote the book It Takes a Village. I think everybody in here will walk by and try to give them a snack or ask them talk to them and like help the parent out. Like they already have enough stress of having their kid in the office, let alone what happens if that kid starts to get antsy. Um so I do think like orgs just have to take a different view. I mean, when you and I started our careers, I started mine way before you, but like that was never even a thought. Like you would never bring your child to work unless it was bring your child to work day, right? And
Yeah.
now, like, I mean, especially like after school stuff, it seems, or even like like if like before school, the daycare has a breakout or something and they can't go. Like I just randomly have kids in my office, and it seems to
Yeah.
work.
I mean,
Hey, hey, I'm Katie Van Horn.
And I'm Jackie Clayton.
We're your hosts of the Inclusive AF podcast, where we take on DEI, leadership, and HR without all the corporate fluff.
That's right. We've got decades of experience, a lot of opinions, and zero tolerance for performative anything.
Every week, we dig into what it really takes to build inclusive workplaces with honesty, strategy, and a few side eyes.
We'll talk about the tough stuff, power dynamics, privilege, what's broken in the system, and how we can all do better.
And don't worry, it's not all heavy. We bring receipts, laughs, and real talk from people actually doing the work.
Think of it as your weekly dose of truth, tips, and a little tea to help you lead with intention and show up for your people.
So if you're ready to push past the buzzwords and get into the actual work of inclusion,
You're in the right place. So subscribe to the Inclusive AF podcast.
new episodes drop every week.
Catch us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll be here breaking it down one inclusive convo at a time.
I feel like the pandemic has changed some norms where, like, if I'm home, everyone knows that it's going to be a regular occurrence that they're going to see a child walk by and wave in the morning or afternoon. And I think people, I don't know, I get positive feedback around like the presence of kids, but that's a place of privilege to be able to do that because if I
For
just think
sure.
about like, the
Yep.
types of jobs that my parents had when I was growing up, couldn't bring a child to the hospital. Like the only place I could sit was like in the,
Yeah.
in the waiting area or in the cafeteria. And so there was no supervision there. And then my husband, not my husband, my father was a provision slip, was like an auto mechanic, right? And so like I could not hang out there. So it's like it's a hard dynamic because it depends
You
really on the
could you
workplace.
could have hung out in the garage, right? Turned a wrench or two. Like, I mean,
Oh, sure. And then get like smashed by something like along the way. Yes, that's really, I mean, so like the fear of risk and like all of that and what's
there
going to happen from a safety perspective.
there is
Ugh,
that.
companies don't want to touch that.
I
But
don't know if it was KD that shared this, or if I heard it through another kind of TA friend of hotel um, um, worker that I'm just trying to blank on. They clean the rooms, so I'm
the
like a maid,
housekeeper, yeah.
housekeeper,
Yeah.
housekeeper. They were they were struggling. Maybe I just it was a news story, but I mean they were actually struggling with getting enough housekeepers. And for the most part, in their market, it was Hispanic women who were working as housekeepers, and that's in a lot of markets I know. And they allowed them to bring their kids, and these housekeepers, literally, there was like 5 or 6 of them, would just rotate, and one would watch the kids while the other ones went out and worked, and like every hour they would just rotate who was watching the kids, and then it worked out. And the owners of this hotel chain actually opened up like one of the small conference rooms and tried to make it like some place where the kids could actually hang out and not be like around the chemicals or washing machines and stuff like that. um and again, I think I love to hear those kind of stories of people trying to figure out how do we make this work, right? I think we're, again, in a country like ours, we're privileged not to, that a lot of times we haven't seen this in our history. But when you go around the world, like some of that stuff is pretty norm, right? That you're taking your kids to work because it's the only option you have.
Yeah. Well, so the one area where I've not seen like meaningful disruption related to just the whole topic of childcare that I think that there's huge opportunity on, and there's been some interesting studies on, is like the other place where people are having these like crazy costs that are skyrocketing and families are trying to figure out how to manage through is elder care, right? And
Yeah.
so like really good like studies around like what happens when you bring elderly people together with children and co-locate them for like mutual benefit. And
Yep.
so I don't know who's going to solve for that, but I just feel like there's got to be a way to bring those two populations together, right? And like mutually benefit and also bring costs down of both. I don't know. I don't know if I'm just like thinking
Yeah.
of something wild, but
I love
I don't
that.
know,
Yeah.
something there.
Hey, there's the other thing. The other one that you see constantly now is there's like a really kind of a huge need for teachers, right? And we constantly see schools struggling to get enough teachers, bus drivers, all this stuff. And I'm thinking, what organization has the most ability to watch under like school age kids? Would be a school system, right? Like, how could you not, like, how could you lose a teacher to saying, oh, I can't work because now I got to care for my child, and we may, whatever. Like, why wouldn't you go, you know what? That's awesome. Bring your kid in on your hour off. You can go see them. We're going to have a room. We're going to like have our high school kids come in, and they're going to do a rotation where they have like a 2 hour or 1 hour, once a week, twice a week, they can come in and learn how to care for children. Maybe they want to be, kind of a preschool teacher when they grow up, whatever. Like, it seems like that would be the easiest thing to actually coordinate and develop. And that you would have so many of these young teachers who have to leave the field to become mothers or want to leave the field to become mothers could actually say, oh, shoot, I can do both. Right. And figure this out and have really cost effective childcare. And but public schools, like they just refuse to figure this out. They just go like, oh, we can't find anybody. Instead, we're going to have 40 kids in a classroom. And you're just like, come on, be better than this. Okay.
Insane.
Another article, and again, this one was sent to us, I believe, by our friend Chris Dunn, and it was about a congressman's or congressperson's staffer who they complained about doing all of the stuff. And you might think, oh, it's it was a young female staffer working for a female congressperson, congresswoman. Um, and it got me to think about, and so basically what was happening was like, there's a formal way to like say, hey, this congressperson is taking advantage of me, right? They're making me go pick up their dry cleaning and, schedule their personal events and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, like that's part of the job. Like, how would you ever turn somebody in when you have this high profile job that potentially they're going to recommend you for, career advancement? It got me to thinking about early on in my career and entry level jobs of stuff people would ask you to do. And I joke because like I sit next to one of my vice presidents, female, and she constantly will ask the men on our staff to go fill up her tank with gas and give give them her credit card, but she doesn't want to do it herself. And there's a gas station literally like maybe 200 yards from our office. And she'll just go, hey, and she'll just send them a message and go, hey, come back here to our office, and then hand them their credit card. And they just know they have to go fill up her car with gas.
Wow.
And, and again, I mean, obviously we hire people in our culture that they just kind of laugh that off. They don't even think about it, but somebody could really take affront to that, and say, wait a minute. But I remember like when I was first in my job too, and like, somebody would ask me to do something and it was kind of like, oh, hey, could you, like, let's say like, they had to like, can you watch my kid for an hour? Cause I have this, I can't find anybody. I'd be like, yeah, sure. Like you would do anything to be on the best, side. And so what early career advice would you give yourself, Jay, knowing that it seems like we have a generation coming up that's not going to put up with our shit?
Oh, goodness. Well, so, okay, before I answer that though, like one, and maybe this is partially related to like advice for myself. I think
Yeah.
like you could look at being asked to take on a task like that in one of two ways. You could feel like you're being, I don't know, patronized or demeaned by being asked to do this. But like, here's the flip side of that. Like someone obviously trusts you where they're like, I'm giving you my credit card, I'm giving you the keys to my car, or in the case of this particular senator, I'm given access to the senator's household to be able to go complete an errand. I
Yeah.
actually just think it's so wild to me to think of it as like, oh, I'm being told that I need to do this demeaning task. Actually, you're like being entrusted with like someone's money, someone's
Yeah.
personal home to like go and do a thing. And there's a part of me that's like, why can't you see it that way? Because like I just, so there, that's part of it
I
where
don't,
I'm
by the way,
really split on it.
I totally agree with you. I don't understand the mentality of anyone going, well, I was hired to do this job, and now you're going to do this job. Now, again, that we're only seeing one side of it. I think a lot of that has to do with the person asking you to do this personal task. If you know that, not doesn't have to be like this quid pro quo, but if you know like that you're so appreciative of this person doing this and you're thankful and you're going to make sure like, and you recognize like, hey, I know I'm asking you to do something personal and I really apologize. I just don't have any other way around it. Could you help me out? And by the way, it is about trust, and I'm going to give you, projects that are more conducive with your background and where you want to go in your career and blah, blah, blah. Like that's a whole different conversation. I'm assuming this senator or congressperson probably treated this person like a piece of garbage, right? It was constant, like,
Probably.
go get my coffee. Nope, that coffee sucks. Go get me another coffee. I hate you. Are you that stupid? How could you, put two creamers? I only wanted one creamer. And you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna blow you up.
Oh my goodness. But here's the advice like to my younger self that I would give and I always give to other early career people, which is literally say yes to everything. Do anything that is at like I truly like am of that mindset. Like you just got to say yes to everything and make yourself indispensable whether like it is seen or not seen. You just got to say yes to everything. And I just
Yeah.
feel like if you can create that reputation for yourself as always being willing to like go the extra mile, to do the thing that no one else wants to do the things without a complaint, without a, sigh, without like having to make a big deal out of it. I just think that is the thing that will always differentiate. So that's what I literally always tell everyone early career. Say yes to everything. Say yes to
Can I,
everything. Just do it
can
with a
I,
smile. Get it done.
can I add a little something to that? I think it's
Yes.
say yes to everything with an attitude that this is great. Like I'm going to kill this, right? Even
Yes.
if it's a small task, even if it's something that most people would look down upon, like go dig that ditch. Hell yeah, I'm going to dig. I'm going to dig the best ditch you've ever seen. I think people notice that as much as they notice they know that anybody could do the task, right? But they just can't find anybody, and they need somebody to say yes. But they don't need somebody to say yes and then be like, "Ugh, you owe me one. This is awful." Like, okay, forget it. I'll just do it myself. Like I don't need
Yes.
all of that. I need this. I need to, like, yeah, just go. Like, all right, cool. I got it. Yep. Hey, you don't even think about this again. I got it. I'm gonna do this. I got it for you, right? Like that's the kind of personality I think you need. I'm going to say one that I know would be unpopular with young people today. Part of it probably would be not unpopular. Part of it would be, which I wish I would have known. I'm an early person. Jay, I get up early. I have my energy is early. And so I love being the first one in the office, but it's the wrong thing to do early in your career. You don't have to be the last person in the office, but quite frankly, no one even knows or cares. It's you need to be one of the last people to leave the office. Like that's who gets
Mm.
noticed. And I was the opposite. I was like, no, I'll be here at freaking 6:37, but like I know my energy by 5 p.m. is gone and my best hours are behind me and I want to get out of there. And yet, in every corporate professional setting I was in, the people who would actually come in 2 hours after me and stay 1 hour longer than me, people would be like, well, you need to be more like Jessica. Look at her. She's staying until 6. And you're just like, that bitch doesn't get in until 10 o'clock.
Oh, so you think it's like stay later than everyone? I mean, what's hard about that now, this doesn't
No
apply
one's
to
in the
you because you
office.
go into the
Yeah.
office. I know you go into the office every day. So I actually think nowadays, currently, like it's just come in. Just come in every day
Yeah.
and you will be noticed more
I,
than like you'll get the credit for just literally being there. Just come in. That's all
so
you
I,
have to do
I,
now.
I thought that as well, right? I keep thinking like so much has changed, but like, like really our culture changes very slowly. So like Keaton, CPA, busy season right now, and he will literally stay at the office every night, Monday through Friday till probably 8 or 9 o'clock. And then he'll go in Saturday, work a full day Saturday, but probably get out of there 4 or 5, right? But he says he is one of the few at his level, being like a junior new accountant, right? First couple of years in career, that actually do that. There's still a bunch of people that work in his same level that still will work from home 2 or 3 days a week and stuff like this. All of the partners know him and recognize him and have like, I
Yep.
mean, there's a difference. When because they're there. And I had one of the guys I actually ran into. I mean, I kind of knew we're not like friends, but we kind of like run in the same circles. And it got back to me that one of the partners was like, yeah, I locked myself out of the office one night and I actually called Keaton because I knew he would be there. And you're just like, that
Yep.
shit gets noticed. It gets noticed today still.
It sure does. No, I mean, so like we are facing the challenge of like who comes in, how often do they come in? And I tell you, I have someone on my team who is here every day, is probably the first or second one in every single day, and it is noticed. We all know he's going to be there. And it's like you have those opportunities for those accidental moments, those collisions where conversations end up taking place and you get to benefit from it. So
A good way,
2023, just show
like
up.
you and I, like, I know I'm a big like scoreboard fan. Like I would love to like be in a big corporation like yours and go, hey, we're just going to scoreboard like the badge swipes, like who comes in and just like, oh my gosh, look at Jessica. Like she is the number one person here in the office. And again, nothing around it. Like just put it up there, right? So people see it. Cause you know how competitive people are. They would be like,
Oh
oh
my
my
God.
gosh, Tim Sackett is 0. Like he's never been in the office or he's only in
I
once a week or
know.
whatever. Like all you would have to do is scoreboard that with no saying, no comment, no nothing. And it would automatically, you would see that's everybody coming into the office.
Oh my God. You just people would I don't think people can handle that. But by the way, also like some days on Fridays, my husband's like, "Why are you going in?" I'm like, "I don't know. I can't like not. I'm just there's no one else there except for me and one other person, but
By
I'm
the way,
here and I
it's the
can't
same way at
stop."
my office on Fridays, and I love Fridays in the office. It's quiet. I get so much stuff done. Like I am so productive on a Friday because I don't have I'm not at home, so I don't have the dogs and Amazon and everybody. I don't have all the craziness at home. I have nobody here. I just have myself in my office and just getting stuff done. Like I love being in the office by myself.
Mm. Love that office.
All right, people. That's what we had for you. It's for my girl, Jessica Lee. I'm Tim Sackett. It's HR Famous. We'll be back next week. And I'm guessing we'll have Madeline with us. Till then, have a great week.